All right, hey VC, how you doing? It's Jamie back with you. This time with a vinyl haul. A few off the top that I was really happy to pick up, and quite an odd variety in this one. So yeah, let's get to it. Hope things are good with you, and yeah, nice to be back with you. This is some Canadiana right off the top. A unique find for me. This is the group called 3's a Crowd, West Coast group, and this is their one and only album called Christopher's Movie Matinee. And this was on the ABC Dunhill label. As you can see, this was actually a promo copy. And interestingly, it was produced by Mama Cass Elliott of the Mamas and Papas, along with Steve Barry. And this is great late 60s pop. They do have that kind of Mamas and Papas sound. The group featured Donna Wapner on vocals, along with Brent Titcomb and David Whiffen. Both Brent and David would go on to solo careers. And Brent actually lives in the Stratford area in southern Ontario. So if I run into Brent Titcomb, I'll have to get him to autograph this. And Brent still performs from time to time. And yeah, this is just great late 60s pop. As I mentioned, it has that kind of Mamas and Papas sound to it. And this was their one and only album. Interesting, they do a cover of Let's Get Together, the Youngbloods track, and so this was a year after that song initially came out. Theirs has been described as almost kind of almost like a military style to that one, just in that particular track. But they do a couple of tracks from up-and-coming writers at the time. Murray McLaughlin being one of them. Murray McLaughlin would go on to have a great solo career in the 70s, 80s. Farmer Song is one of his big tracks. He was very folk country, that sort of thing. So his song is A Coat of Colors. That's a Murray McLaughlin song that they do. And then they also do Bruce Coburn's song. Before Bruce Coburn became a big solo artist, the track is Bird Without Wings, and they released that as a single. And that's a great track. That has a really nice Mamas and Papas feel to it. Interestingly enough, Bruce Coburn would join this band about a year later, albeit briefly, and then the band broke up. They weren't together too long in the grand scheme of things. They did some television work. I had a TV show for a little bit, but yeah, this came out in 68, and I think by the end of 69, this group had pretty much already, for the most part, disbanded. But yeah, it's great 60s pop, and I was absolutely thrilled to get this at a decent price. Didn't pay too much for it. Yeah, and then just kind of 60s fun on the inside there. Yeah, the cover's a little worn, but not too bad, and plays great. And on the Dunhill label. Okay, so there's that one. And here is an odd one. This would be, I don't know if Derek at Psychedelic has a copy of this one. I have seen this certainly online. I can't remember what YouTubers have talked about this one, but I've seen this before, so I was happy to pick this up. This is an odd album. This is the Zodiac Cosmic Sounds, Celestial Counterpoint with Words and Music. This came out in 1967. This was a one-off from Elektra Records. And so this features the electronic instrumentation of a fellow by the name of Paul Beaver. And incidentally, he's a Leo because they look at all the signs of the Zodiac on here. So it's basically music and spoken word. So it's very odd album. And this is a mono copy. And as I mentioned, this came out in 1967. It is original music composed, arranged, and conducted by Mort Garson, who is a Cancer, and words and lyrics by Jacques Wilson, who is a Leo. And I love the instruction here. It says, must be played in the dark. I'm a Libra, so my track's the first song on side one, The Flower Children, but there you have it. Cover's a little bit worn, but this is maybe not everyone's taste because there is a bit of campiness, if you will, to it, but at the same time, it kind of works. Maybe more so than other projects of this style. It's interesting, to say the least. Again, maybe not everybody's favorite album, but I do love it. It's mono, and it comes with the original Elektra sleeve, which is very cool, and on the Elektra label. So yeah, something a little different. I wasn't expecting to come across that one. Speaking of another great mono album or mono copy, Rolling Stones, Aftermath. This is the US or North American edition of this album as opposed to the UK version. If you check out Calico Silver's YouTube channel, which is absolutely terrific, he does a sort of a review of his top albums from 1966, and this is in his top 5. This is an absolutely terrific album. This one's a little worn, it's a little crackly, a little scratchy, but it plays okay. And you know, when you talk about a song lineup like this, I mean, you can't go wrong. The song "Going Home" is a little bit unusual for Rolling Stones tracks, early in these early days, at 11 minutes and 35 seconds. And as I recall, this is the first album where it wasn't covers. These are all Jagger Richards originals, or Jagger Richard originals. Of course, Keith Richard, and then he would later, of course, go by Keith Richards, his actual name. What was interesting, though, I was reading here in the credits, you know, you have your typical, you know, vocals by Mick and Keith, guitars, Keith, Brian, bass, Bill, they go on, and then lighting by Mick Jagger. Did Mick run the lights, too? Did he drive the tour van as well? So there you have it. But yeah, this is in mono. As I say, a little scratchy, a little crackly, but otherwise okay. And then on the London label. Okay. And moving right along. I picked this up. I'd had this on CD. Forgot what a great soundtrack this is. As you may or may not know, I'm a huge fan of Tangerine Dream. And yeah, picking up Thief, the movie soundtrack. It's James Caan on the cover there, is featured in the film. This came out, what was it, in the 80s? Yeah, 1981. For many, this was our first introduction to Tangerine Dream, and then opening up the entire world of Tangerine Dream. But this is a terrific soundtrack. I love the opening track, beach theme, and it's just great. I just love this group. And it's on the classic Virgin label. Whoops. And yeah, Tangerine Dream Thief. So nice to have that on vinyl. Certainly a band I have been getting into. It's a band I really didn't know a lot about. I'd certainly seen this particular album, and I was finally able to pick it up. Bebop Deluxe, and this is Live in the Air Age. And I love the cover that is from the silent movie classic Metropolis. So it has a lot of the images from Metropolis. This is a double LP, but an interesting sort of configuration. They have it described as side 1 album, and then the track, side 2 EP with just 1 track, and then side 3 EP with a couple of tracks, and then side 4 album with these tracks. But this is the sort of traditional style of, well, I can show you. This is not gatefold, so both albums are just popped in like that. And this came with the sleeves, which is quite nice. So this follows the old style of, let's see if I've got the right albums here, show you. So yeah, we have, here we go. So we have side 2 and 3, like that. And then we have side 1 and 4, like that. So in other words, this would be more of the full-length album, side 1 and 4, and then the idea of the EP, even though it all plays at 33 1/3, the EP for side 3 and for side 2. I hope you're able to follow all this, as I can barely follow it myself. But yeah, Bebop Deluxe, great kind of proggy band, but not full-on prog, but worth checking out. Bebop Deluxe from the UK, nice band. Okay, was really happy to get this. Chicago, this is a Chicago, is it Chicago 8? Is that the... Get my Roman numerals right. Yes, VIII, so that would be Chicago 8. And this features Old Days and Harry Truman. You often see this, but what you don't often see is that this does include the iron-on transfer and the poster, which was in the original. And so we'll get to the poster first. And this is a nice size poster. And sort of this almost sort of Norman Rockwell kind of look that they did for a few of their albums, including, I believe, Greatest Hits. So that's a nice, huge size poster for that. So nice to see that included. And you often, maybe you might see the poster, but you don't often see the original iron-on transfer. This was the idea that it would go on a t-shirt, that sort of thing, and it gives you the full directions for the iron-on transfer, so that was pretty cool to have. And does include the sleeve as well. And it's a nice, and Terry Cat, love Terry Cat so much. And that. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this one. Just a few interesting finds, and hopefully you've got some interesting finds coming up as well. That's it for me, Jamie Cottle. Take care. We'll chat again real soon. Bye-bye.